It really feels like we all just woke up one day and artificial intelligence was, well, everywhere, right? It's writing our emails, it's creating incredible art. It seems like it just appeared out of thin air. But what if I told you this overnight sensation is actually thousands of years in the making? Okay, let's dive in and really unpack the story of the AI boom.
I love this. The brilliant Douglas Adams just perfectly captured how we react to these massive, world-changing technologies. There's always that mix of excitement, a little bit of fear, and this feeling that it's all somehow unnatural. This quote, "It is the perfect lens for our journey today because, let's be honest, AI is pushing all of those buttons at once."
So, to really get a grip on where we are now, we have to look back. And I mean, way back. Because the dream of creating artificial life, of building intelligent beings from scratch, that is not some new idea from a Silicon Valley startup. Nope. It's actually one of humanity's oldest, most enduring stories.
And what's so fascinating is how you see this same core idea popping up in totally different cultures. So look here on the left. You've got Talos from Greek mythology, a giant robot made of bronze, built by the gods themselves. And on the right, the Golem from Jewish folklore, a giant made of clay, brought to life to protect its people. For literally millennia, we've been telling stories about breathing life into things that shouldn't happen.
This obsession just kept right on going into the industrial age. This thing is called the Mechanical Turk. It was a chess-playing machine that absolutely floored audiences all across Europe back in the 1770s. Now, of course, it turned out to be a really clever hoax with a person hiding inside. But that's not the point. The fact that people so desperately wanted to believe a machine could think, well, that tells you everything you need to know about our search for artificial minds.
Okay, so if we've been dreaming about this for so long, what changed? Why is this happening now? How in the world did we get from ancient myths and clever hoaxes to the incredibly powerful AI tools we have in our pockets today? That journey, from myth to modern reality, is a story of a few key breakthroughs that basically turned science fiction into fact.
The post-war era really lit the fuse. In 1950, you've got Alan Turing asking the big question, can machines think? Just a few years later in 1956, the field finally gets its name, artificial intelligence. Then, fast forward to 1997 for a huge public moment. IBM's Deep Blue beats the world chess champion. A machine beat the best human. But the real big bang, the moment everything, and I mean everything accelerated, it happens right here, in 2017. That's when Google introduces something called the Transformer. That one word, that's the key to everything happening right now.
So what on earth is a transformer? Well, think of it like this. Older AI models would read a sentence one word at a time, left to right. They'd often lose the bigger picture. The transformer architecture, though, it's revolutionary because it lets the AI look at the entire sentence all at once, weighing how important each word is to all the others. That's how it understands context and nuance. It's the jump from just processing words to actually grasping what you mean.
So how does that work in practice with something we all know, like ChatGPT? Well, when you type in a prompt, it first gets chopped up into pieces, called tokens. Then it runs a quick safety check. After that, it starts predicting the next most likely word, and the next, based on all the patterns it's learned. But here's the secret sauce. Right there in step 4, it injects a tiny bit of randomness.
And this right here perfectly illustrates the double-edged sword of that randomness. On one hand, it's the reason AI can sound so creative and human-like, not just robotic and predictable. But on the other hand, it's also why it sometimes just makes stuff up. It creates what we call hallucinations, completely fake facts or citations that sound totally plausible but just aren't real. It's like the ghost of creativity living inside the machine.
Okay, so with this unbelievable power suddenly at our fingertips, one of the first places we're seeing a massive impact is in education. So the big question is AI the ultimate study buddy, or is it something else entirely?
And the answer, it seems, is, well, it's both, for sure. On one hand, it can be a phenomenal research assistant, right? It can summarize super dense articles in seconds or help analyze huge sets of data. But on the other hand, it can be a direct shortcut to academic dishonesty, used for blatant plagiarism or to cheat on assignments. The crucial thing to remember is that the technology itself isn't good or bad. It's just a really powerful tool, and its impact depends completely on the person using it.
And that brings us to a much deeper, much more complicated conversation. Because beyond just, cheating on a test, what are the fundamental ethical problems that come baked into the technology itself? This is the ghost in the machine. All right, here's the absolute core of the issue. AI models are trained on gigantic amounts of text and images from the internet, all data created by us, by humans. And that means they don't just learn about history and science and art, they also learn our societal blind spots, our stereotypes, and our hidden biases. In a very real way, an AI is just a mirror, reflecting back the data we show it, warts and all.
To see this in action, check this out. Researchers gave an image-generating AI some really simple prompts back in early 2023. They asked it to create pictures for professions like a doctor, a nurse, a college professor, and a business student, all specifically in the US. The big question was, what would the AI spit out?
So, what the researchers found was pretty startling. The results were a direct reflection of the patterns in the data it was trained on. For instance, the images for doctor were overwhelmingly male and white, while the images for nurse were almost all female. Now, the AI wasn't being malicious, it was just reproducing the statistics it found online. And this outcome immediately kicked off some really critical conversations about fairness and justice in these systems.
And look, the conversation doesn't just stop at bias. There are huge discussions happening around privacy, since training data can include personal information that was just scraped from the web without anyone's consent. Then there's the whole issue of copyright, with artists' work being used to train models that can then copy their style. And finally, there's transparency, this black box problem where we can't always explain why an AI made a specific decision. These are the huge, complex challenges we're all trying to figure out right now.
So, facing these incredible opportunities, and let's be honest, these really profound challenges, what do we do? How do we even begin to navigate this new world that we're all building together?
Well, there are a lot of possible paths forward, especially in a field like education. Some people say just ban it completely. Others suggest going old school, more handwritten exams, oral defenses, that sort of thing. But there's another option that's really starting to gain traction, not fighting it, but embracing it thoughtfully.
Now, embracing AI doesn't mean just letting it do all our work for us. Not at all. It means we have to shift our focus. So instead of only grading the final product, the essay, educators can focus on the process of research, of critical thinking, of revision, using AI as a tool along the way. It's about preparing people for a future where working with an AI is a basic, essential skill, one that could make us all way more productive and hopefully even more creative.
Because ultimately, AI isn't some alien intelligence that just came down from the clouds. It's built from our data, our language, our history, and our flaws. It's a mirror. So the most important question we have to face isn't just about what the AI can do, but what it shows us about ourselves, and what do we want to see when we look into it.